Meeting to order.
The City of San Clemente respects the many people of different faiths who reside here. The City Council historically begins its session with an invocation offered by one of the religious leaders of our community with full appreciation of our shared belief that we are one nation under God. And while the city cannot endorse any particular religion, we respect the religious freedom and freedom of expression of all our citizens to pray as they feel led to pray. This evening's invocation will be given by Faye Jeffers of Baha'i Faith Community.
Okay, and afterwards, please remain standing, and we'll have a very special individual lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
O thou kind Lord, O thou who art generous and merciful, we are the servants of thy threshold and are gathered beneath the sheltering shadow of thy divine unity. The sun of thy mercy is shining upon all, and the clouds of thy bounty shower upon all. Thy gifts encompass all, thy loving providence sustain all. Thy protection overshadows all, and the glances of thy favor are cast upon all. O Lord, grant thine infinite bestowal, and let the light of thy guidance shine. Illumine the eyes, gladden the hearts with abiding joy. Confer a new spirit upon all people, and bestow upon them eternal life. Unlock the gates of true understanding, and let the light of faith shine resplendent. Gather all the people beneath the shadow of thy bounty, and cause them to unite in harmony, so that they may become as the rays of one sun, as the waves of one ocean, as the fruit of one tree. May they drink from the same fountain. May they be refreshed by the same breeze. May they receive illumination from the same source of light. Thou art the giver, the merciful, the omnipotent. Abdul Baha, the Baha'i Writings.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Race Christensen. I am a Boy Scout from Troop 797.
Perfect. Lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Wait till I have to do like the one.
No,
Okay.
just say, put your hand over here. Ready to begin.
Put your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Hey, hey. Thank you.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Donchak.
Present.
Councilmember Ward.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baker.
Here.
Mayor Ham.
Present.
First item on the agenda is a presentation by Pamela Passow, Recreation Manager, concerning the recent law enforcement torch run for the Special Olympics World Games.
So on July 19th, we had something very special in San Clemente. It was the law enforcement torch run, and it was celebrating the Special Olympics World Games. And if any of you got to see a little bit of it, it was pretty spectacular. Here we go. So this is the only slide that we have all the words on. I wanted to make sure that I gave you a little bit of the highlights here. So the Special Olympics World Games, we were the San Clemente leg, which is the final leg of the torch run. This was on the San Clemente Beach Trail from Calafia all the way to the San Clemente Pier, and then it went from San Clemente Pier to Linda Lane Park. And the speakers included San Clemente City Council, Mayor Pro Tem Bob Baker, Orange County Sheriff's Department, local San Clemente Olympian, law enforcement representative, and a Special Olympics representative. And you're going to see some fun stuff after this. So this is the first part of it, and as you can see in these pictures, they were having a really good time. This was a fantastic group of individuals, and this was during the Ocean Festival, and so we're very grateful to the Ocean Festival for sharing this time with us for this Special Olympic torch run. And as you can see here, they kept going. They were in formation. They went in the skinnier places. They were 2 by 2, and most of the time they were smiling as they were going on this run. And then over here you can see that this is part of the torch, and this torch is called the Hope of, let me make sure I'm saying this right, the Flame of Hope. Gosh dang it, sorry. The Flame of Hope. And so this is them running through it, and I think that San Clemente is the perfect background for something like this, and I think that all Olympics torch runs should be run through San Clemente from now on. So we'll put that in. I think we should. So the group consisted of Special Olympians around the world as well as law enforcement from around the world. And so here they are coming up on the pier, and what was really neat is the Special Olympics World Games, they had flags, so the people as they were walking by coming onto the pier, they were waving them, and you can see how happy that our Olympians were as they were watching this. And this was during the Woody Car Show, which is on the pier, so you can see the beautiful car as well. We don't usually have cars that are just parked on our pier. So you can see there's quite a few athletes that are there, and they just had the best time, and they were smiling and laughing and really respectful of this event. So up on the right side, you see Mayor Pro Tem Bob Baker. Not only did he give a fabulous speech, but he was the MC of the entire event, and so he did a great job. And then up here we have Lieutenant Dave Moody, who gave an inspirational speech talking about how the Orange County Sheriff's was very proud to be part of this event and what that really means to law enforcement personnel. And then on the right we have Mitch Kahn, who is one of our local Olympians. He lives in San Clemente, and he was in the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona. And we're very proud that we have an Olympian amongst ourselves. And he was on the U.S. kayaking team, in case you were curious, because I know a lot of you see him over at the Aquatic Center playing water polo and coaching out there, but he actually was a kayaker. And so then here we have our around the world people. So we have law enforcement representative Carl White, and he's been involved with the Special Olympics for the past 18 years. And he was talking about all the thousands of dollars that he and his agency have raised for the Special Olympics and what it really means to him. And then on the right, this is our Special Olympics representative, Nigel Davis. He's from Jamaica. And I thought this was the neatest thing. I was so glad that he was our representative. He has participated in every single summer and winter Olympics for the past, since 1991. I don't know any of you, but I couldn't even compete in most of these events, and he's been in everything. And he was just so excited to be here and talk about his experience, and it was just inspiring. And so on the left, you can see here that our torch has changed, and the reason we did that is this is their flameless torch. We didn't want to have any mishaps and have our pier catch on fire by something so wonderful, and so they did that for us, which was fabulous. And then on the right, here's the exchanging of the tokens of appreciation, and in this case, we exchanged coins, and I have something here that I want to show you, which is the coin that we received, and I should say Mayor Pro Tem Baker received. And then up here, this is what their flag looked like. This is the Guardians of the Flame, the final leg. And they were so excited, so they used that as they're running down as part of this whole event. And then on the right-hand side, we have them as they were leaving the pier on their way to Linda Lane. And you can see all the smiles on their faces, and they just really just enjoyed themselves. And I think that the patrons who were able to see this just really were inspired. And then this is the end of this presentation, and so this is a great event. So pictured here, we have our Olympians from around the world and our law enforcement personnel. And then we also have our Mayor Pro Tem Baker, Councilmember Kathy Ward, and we have Kathy Patullo, who was the Special Olympics representative. She was a volunteer. She just retired this past year and didn't understand, I think, how involved she was going to be and how many hours, but we are grateful for her for doing this. And then we're also grateful for the Orange County Sheriff's Department for bringing this event to San Clemente. And they made it so that everyone was safe and we didn't have to worry about anybody getting run over by our runners going so fast. And so this was a great team effort by everyone. So that is the end of my presentation, so I wanted to be able to show you the beautiful coin.
Yeah, and as Pam said, I had the pleasure of emceeing this event, and you talk about an inspirational event for us. My goodness, it was absolutely terrific. All the law enforcement folks are from around the world. It's great, and all the Olympics are from around the world. Of course, that's what the Olympics are. But the thrill in these folks' faces when they're standing on the end of the San Clemente Pier looking out at this, and it was readily apparent that everybody was really appreciative and glad to be welcomed to San Clemente like they were. So hats off to Recreation for doing a great job on this, and just an awe-inspiring, very, very heartwarming, terrific, tremendous, I can't say enough about it, great event. So thanks everybody who had a hand in this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can we get a close-up of this, maybe? This is a terrific little final leg. Very nice little medal presented to us. We'll leave it up here at City Hall. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
Next is presentation of certificates of recognition to the city's outgoing commission and committee members.
Okay. So I'm going to do these one at a time. Just give people the recognition they deserve. So before we start, I just want to say something cool about this plaque. This is a pretty neat plaque. I'm always inspired when I see the seal of the city of San Clemente. I think it's a great thing. I think this will be a great wall hanger for each and every one of you. So I personally am excited about hopefully getting one of these one day, maybe. But before we invite each person up here individually and give them an award, I just want to say a couple things about how appreciative myself, the rest of the council, and the city of San Clemente is for everyone's hard work that they put into the commissions and committees. I know people probably come to you with complaints or issues or concerns, and hopefully they come to you with gratitude and thankfulness as well. But you guys do a tremendous job in this community that I can't say enough about, and we appreciate everything you've done, whether or not people tell you. You've done a fantastic job, and we truly appreciate it. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of City Council's heart, and everybody in the city of San Clemente. So let's give everybody a round of applause before we start. So the first one up is Vonnie. You're number one. We're starting with V today, I guess, or maybe B. So thank you, Vonnie, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure and an honor.
Let's get a photo here. Who's this guy? Does he know how to work camera?
That's the cute guy's my husband, Tom.
Oh,
Morris.
okay. Thanks, Vonnie.
Thank you.
Dagmar? Boy? No? Okay. Got a lot of attendees. Tom Wicks? Okay. On vacation. Richard Dickey? There he is. Perfect. Well, this went much quicker than I expected to. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He should still name them.
Okay. Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
I'll read the other names too. That way, we have Thomas Wicks, Beach Parks and Rec. Dagmar Foy, Beach Parks and Rec. Sherry Murphy, Beach Parks and Rec. And Julia Darden from the Planning Commission. So big round of applause for everybody. All of our.
Presentation by Planning Commission Chair Donald Brown concerning Planning Commission activities.
Hey, Don.
Hello. Good evening. This is the first in a series, I guess, of council requested briefings by commissions and committees. No PowerPoints, no ukulele playing in the background, or anything like preceding sessions. To tell you kind of what we've been doing, what we have ongoing, and future. I have to do also kind of caveat whatever I say because of the ongoing and future activities, that any comments I make, I have to be very tight on because of the Brown Act in future votes, and I'm counting on our good friend over here for our city attorney to cough and grumble and if I get off message here. So recent accomplishments, we've done some traffic commission activities, traffic calming, Paseo Cristobal, great action by the council on supporting us on that. Zoning amendment, commercial mascots, council initiative that we cranked through pretty quickly. Capital improvement program, we do that every year for general plan consistency to check every capital improvement program to make sure there's a tie to the general plan, which really helps out. I want to bring up a couple of small projects. Hamilton's Restaurant coming down on Del Mar. It's taking the place of the Shore Restaurant. And the people that are coming in to do this restaurant have elected to improve the facade of the building, do a 5-story shield, all the air conditioning stuff on the roof, and turn it into an Ole Hansen type architecture, which is really, I think a great effort by this group that owns this are going to own this restaurant to really come in and approve what we look at rather than just, change the sign on the front like from Shore to Hamilton's. And this recognition of Hamilton Cotton is why they picked the name. I wanted to bring on one thing up. It was a business park issued up in the Talega Research and Development Park, 1385 Calle Avanzado. It was an auto repair denial, and this young man had bought this property and wanted to put auto repair up there, but unfortunately it was zoned for research and technology, not for auto repair, and the HOA wasn't zoned for it. He's one of the young men that's successful in business but didn't do quite his due diligence, didn't come down to the city and talk. He just took the word of his real estate agent and made an investment. So now he's got to sell a building and go buy another one where we've zoned for auto, but just one of those tough parts of the job that comes along every once in a while that you probably don't hear about. But we have to put the word out there that every time we all get approached, and we all do, is, send them over to Negocio and in the door and make sure that where they want to go and where they want to set up their business is in fact zoned for it and allowed by our city regulation and the HOA. We finished 6 meetings on the coastal land use plan. That's going to be on your schedule next month. Staff's going to present you with about 400 pages of reading. I just thought I'd bring you mine. So there's about an inch of it is the
No wonder we had to run on Post-it notes at Staples. I noticed they ran out of stock
That's
there,
right.
and that was you.
That's my comment. Tim Brown's comments are in there too. But let you know that there's a doorstop coming your way for your perusal. I think it's just scheduled for the 2nd of September. And of course, we finished up, the Estrella Shopping Center, Kmart, Sears, beautiful design. Of course, a lot of lessons learned from you on signage, which we're working through in the future here. Ongoing effort, the general plan amendment and zoning amendment that you initiated in February, a little 7 or 8 page, you voted and we all agreed, and all 5 of you. It's a nice little missive. It was about 8 pages, and there was about 12 pages of staff report. It's now 385 pages of details that we're going through. Land use plan, the power of GIS and the mapping. We're finding where zones split lots. There's going to be 50 general plan amendment changes overall, and 56 zoning changes due to the power of this new map system that you all have authorized about a year ago that staff's really digging in on. This does not include the specific plans, which is about half the city. So it's gotten quite large, but that's the work you hire us to do, and that's what we're plowing through. And hopefully, when we get all of it done, it'll be, I think, a really good piece of work. But just thought to make sure that, I assure you that our city manager's forest of trees that he owns in Maine is live and well, and we're utilizing a lot of them in that area. Also, wrapped in that zoning plan amendment is 1010 South El Camino Real for the site plan, zoning amendment, cultural heritage permit, and conditional use permit. We've had 6 sessions on both those 2 sessions, the zoning amendment and 1010 South El Camino Real, and it's ongoing. We have a public workshop scheduled for the 10th of August, which was originally initiated by the applicant's architects. And then after that, we'll get back into it. It's also on our schedule now for our first session in September. Future effort, tune into your local Cox station if you'd like. Tomorrow night, we have massage parlors on our agenda. And soon, coming soon, will be a sign ordinance study session on our list here within the next month. The south extension of San Clemente Beach Trail is coming to us thanks to your initiatives and starting to come on our horizon. We have a potential study session on home-based businesses, which may or may touch with the moratorium that our city attorneys are working on. The zoning ordinance updates also, what we've done to date, we did, phase one was kind of a span reduction. Kathy was on the commission when we started that. Phase two of the zoning amendment is what you were going through now, and then there's 2 phases after that to finally get the zoning ordinance up to snuff to the general plan that you approved, a year and a half ago. And then the traffic engineering hopes we'll get a traffic calming manual update to us by December, late this year, winter sometime, is also on their planning horizon in the Traffic Commission. Future, of course, the local implementation plan, which is the accompany to the coastal plan, will come in work, and I think the current schedule has that coming to us May, June of next year. Concurrent with that, I think the city planner has each city's associate planner working on a site plan, a specific plan. So I think his plan is to put all of those on our desk in some coordinated fashion in about a year from now, because we have to get all those to sync. They all have to jive. The zoning amendment, the local implementation plan, which is a zoning amendment, and all the specific plan, everything has to match and synchronize together as we go forward, because once you go to Coastal Commission approval for the LIP, now you're really locked in, because each change you want to make, you end up going back to them. So way out is going to be this big, huge workload coming in probably May, June, July, August next year, if they hold a schedule. And then the last thing, of course, future, or whenever it calls for, is a current moratorium you just initiated on transitional living, and that'll go to the head of the list whenever somebody brings it up. And that's all I have to say tonight. Any questions?
Great job, Don.
Thank you.
I like how you included the jokes in there.
Yeah, no, hey, I'm really grateful for the update. It's, we read the minutes, we follow the meetings, but it's been really great to get a little forward thinking on what you're looking at, how it's being contemplated. Really grateful you took the time to come and do this.
Looking forward as we get probably January, January next year, we start getting, staff lays out a real, more of an in-stone schedule for all these specific plans and the local implementation plan, as we get all that to try to make sure it all comes together properly. So,
Great.
A lot of work ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Anybody else? No? Okay.
Members of the audience who wish to address council on matters that are within the jurisdiction of the City of San Clemente, but not separately listed on the agenda, may do so during the oral communications portion of the meeting. A total time limitation of 30 minutes is allocated for oral communications part 1, with each speaker being allotted 3 minutes in which to give his or her presentation. I do have some cards.
Wow, I got a stack of cards.
So we're skipping 1D.
Oh, I'm sorry, that is being deferred.
Okay. The first card is Wayne Eggleston, Patricia Holloway, and then this weird name, Jim Holloway, I think it's pronounced, and then Ray Harju. Hey, Wayne, if I can remind you that you have 3 minutes, sir. There's 3 lights on there, just to keep you on track.
Hi, Wayne Eggleston, San Clemente. I'm speaking as a private resident tonight, not as a member of the Planning Commission. You're probably wondering why I have my telescope here tonight. Well, I'm talking about night sky and dark skies tonight. San Clemente is really blessed with a lot of wonderful attributes here in this town, and one of them is dark skies. I just wanted to read you something real quick in our general plan. San Clemente's night skies benefit from being surrounded by areas and uses which emit little or no light: the Pacific Ocean, Camp Pendleton, and the open space lands to the east. The city intends to reduce the level of light pollution from 2013 levels, maintain dark skies, and explore opportunities to address light trespass. Recently, the city approved 25% of our streetlights to go LED, but there was no data whatsoever to indicate if that was going to reduce the glare in our night sky. Currently, we have high-pressure sodium lights. What's planned are the bright blue, white type of lights, which are LEDs. This does not just affect one neighborhood or one area. It affects all of San Clemente, 65,000 people. So this is a big thing. That's not small. I understand all the benefits of LEDs. Obviously, the carbon footprint, they're cheaper, and they're longer lasting. And we received information from Tom Bonigan, and also I sent things in here also from the city of Flagstaff. And we could read this paper all day, but we really don't know if, in fact, the glare that is going to be produced by LEDs is going to be less or more than what we currently have. We're making decisions based upon paper, and we can't do that. So I'm suggesting that we have a baseline study to determine whether or not, to determine the glare from our current lights and the glare from LEDs, to see if in fact there is a difference in that. And also to suggest that we take a look at amber LEDs instead of the blue white lights, which according to the information I received shows that in fact it's the most intrusive of all the glare on a night sky. Dark skies are a wonderful quality, and we cannot degrade our unique qualities in San Clemente by dollars and cents, but by a vision of what San Clemente is such a great place to live. So what we do need is a baseline study before we spend taxpayer dollars, and which could be used to degrade our night skies. And that's just a simple request. And recently, I just installed on my Android a meter reading for dark skies. So you can get this either on your iPhone or on your Android. So thanks for listening, and let's really think about a baseline study. I mean, it's just for 25% of our streetlights at one time, that's a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. Can you drop off a copy of that study in my box?
The study was, I believe, sent to all the council members from Tom Bonigan.
Oh, okay, it's the same one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also the one that was from the city of Flagstaff.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Patricia?
We are such a quality of life town.
Big issues.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Holloway. I'm a resident of San Clemente. Tonight, I had planned to ask for your approval of an encroachment permit to allow our team of volunteer professionals to landscape the North Beach roundabout behind the Miramar Theater. About a year and a half ago, the North Beach Community Association and the San Clemente Tree Foundation decided to work together to beautify the traffic circle. Art Guy, the landscape architect for our beach trail, volunteered his time to create a drought-tolerant landscape plan. The Tree Foundation offered to donate the plant material, and the North Beach Association signed an agreement with the city promising to water and maintain the plants. To build the project, we enlisted the help of Bill Kelly, Director of Construction for Marblehead Coastal. He, in turn, helped us solicit the invaluable assistance of his contractors, all professionals willing to volunteer their labor and materials to beautify North Beach. We were set for a July council meeting when we were informed that the roundabout, for liability reasons, would need to be maintained by the city. At first, it was suggested that a water truck could be used to irrigate until we learned that the city does not have one for this purpose. As a result, we were told that in order to proceed, the roundabout would need a $7,000 irrigation system, and the cost for the city to maintain it would be $3,000 a year. While these changes were unanticipated, we thought that if we explained our commitment to North Beach and the high value of the labor and materials being donated, that the city might be willing to cover this portion of the cost by allocating funds that have been specifically set aside for improvements to North Beach. After rescheduling our meeting to tonight, August 4th, we were then informed that city staff had pulled the item from the agenda due to the irrigation and maintenance costs. When I called Bill Kelly to give him the discouraging news, he lifted my spirits by saying that if the city changed its mind, his contractors would still be willing to landscape the roundabout. My hope, therefore, is that you will reconsider our request. But regardless of your decision, I would like to publicly thank the following volunteers: Ray Hardew, president of the North Beach Community Association, and the board members who supported this project; Art Guy for preparing the landscape plans; the San Clemente Tree Foundation for coordinating the project and donating the plants; Amber Gregg and Sean Nicholas, associate planners, for preparing the staff reports, arranging meetings, and guiding us through the process; Bill Kelly with Craig Realty at Marblehead Coastal for facilitating communication with experienced contractors; Rob Minhondo, senior project manager with Layton Construction, for coordination of subcontractors, and I'll just finish with naming the subcontractors. Ben's Asphalt, he was going to do traffic control, asphalt removal, repair, fine grading. Ricky Ham was going to do the concrete work, pouring our curb and gutter. Tim Block with NBI Landscape Development was going to oversee the landscape and irrigation installation. So our sincere thanks to all these folks. Thank you.
Patricia, we can talk about this next week during mayor's hours too.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And this is a copy of the plan that was distributed to you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Jim? Following Jim will be Ray Hardew, Michelle Schumacher, and then is it Jean Kirkland? Do you know how to use that microphone?
Yeah. I'm on restrict instructions to keep to 3 minutes, but it doesn't start until I get. Oh, is it on? Okay, here we go. Jim Holloway, resident of San Clemente. This is also about the traffic circle at North Beach. And as you know, I have a lot of good friends at the Public Works Department, and I know they're very good at math. However, I think in this particular case, someone should have checked their math and done some critical thinking about this proposal. And I have a couple of examples. In many parts of town, there are traffic dividers, traffic channeling structures, traffic calming structures that have all been built, landscaped, maintained by the Public Works Department and installed and maintained at 100% of city cost. For this project, the city would pay less than 5% of the capital improvement cost of this traffic circle landscaping. Second example, 25 yards away from this project, the Public Works Department is bidding a similar project. The first bids came in at about $300,000. That's the bulb out project that the council's aware of. This project would cost the city less than $10,000 for a water meter connection, or less than 4% of the nearby bulb out project, less than 4%. Why does the Public Works Department support the current nearby project but at a cost of $300,000 but not this less than $10,000 project? I think that's a question that needs to be answered, especially since general funds monies need not be expended on this project. The city has about $3 million from development agreements that can only be spent in North Beach. I know this because as a staff member with the city, I negotiated those development agreements. There are no plans identified in the Public Works 5-year capital improvement project for any new master plan, traffic circulation, et cetera, in North Beach, nor is there a high priority ranking of any kind of master plan for North Beach identified in the new general plan. I think there's some lower priority rankings, but not a high priority. So at best, it's 5 to 10 years out before a new specific plan or master plan for North Beach would be developed based on city documents. So why not spend less than 0.5% of the $3 million now and get this traffic circle landscaped. And you've seen previous presentations where the traffic circles were all landscaped. I think the Public Works Department gave that presentation a few weeks ago. By the way, on at least 3 different occasions, I asked the Public Works Department if the current location and geometry of the traffic circle was okay. They said that the traffic circle had been working well for several years and they saw no need to change it at this point in time. And it's a fact that the Public Works Department has no plan identified in their 5-year capital improvement program to reevaluate the current location or design of the traffic circle. So I have a Rotary president that I think is great. Just 2 quick quotes. Rotary president that I admired a lot. He had a quote that he signed off on all his emails. People that want to get something done find a way. People that don't want to get something done find excuses. And one more quote, and it's from Larry the Cable Guy. Let's get her done.
Thanks, Jim. Are you going to be there on Monday too with your wife?
I didn't know there was a meeting.
Oh, okay. Just mayor's hours. She's just coming down.
Okay.
Yeah. Ray, how are you?
Ready? Hi, I'm Ray. How are you? President of the North Beach Community Association. We look forward to making North Beach a better place one of these days. One of these days we're going to get the bulb outs on Pico and Boca. One of these days the Ole Hansen Beach Club is going to be available again after 4 years of being shut down. One of these days the best view in North Beach of the beach is not going to be the utility platform in the back of the Ole Hansen Beach Club, but could be a veranda along the back of the Ole Hansen Beach Club coming over the water pump there. One of these days, the rocks won't be falling down into the ocean along the train tracks. One of these days, those rocks won't present a hazard to beachgoers. One of these days, we'd like to have some sand in North Beach. One of these days, the maintenance in North Beach will be up to snuff. One of these days, the snack bar will be open. This has been closed all year. One of these days, we'll all figure out what to do with the culvert. One of these days, the El Camino lot will be used for something productive. One of these days, we'll have banners welcoming people into the gateway of San Clemente. That one came and went. One of these days, the Miramar will be up and running. One of these days, the park up Pico and the city lot will be productively employed. One of these days, businesses will come back to North Beach and be successful again. One of these days, the empty lots will be productively employed in North Beach. Some good things are going on right now. Pico has hundreds of yards of plantings and very nice decorations with the lights and all that. And here's what the traffic circle looks like now. The traffic circle project is today. If it doesn't happen soon, it's going to cost many times what Patricia has organized. Many of you have voiced support for North Beach. Of late, we've had a lot of disappointment. The U-Haul trucks are still coming down into the historic area of North Beach. The El Camino lot the plan has been taken back twice. Bulb outs of Pico, the plan was turned down, and I guess there's something still going on in that. From the perspective of the North Beach Community Association, please try to find a way to support the traffic circle project. It'll cost a lot more later, and it sounds like funds are available. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray. Michelle, following Michelle will be Jean, and then Dawn, and then Pete.
Hi, good evening. My name is Michelle Schumacher. I'm a resident and a mom here in the city of San Clemente. I've grown up in our beautiful seaside town, and I'm here tonight as I'm very alarmed by the spraying of toxic chemicals near our parks and in the city. Just this morning, I saw 2 men in orange jackets and protective gear spraying around Vista Hermosa Sports Park, which is a jewel of recreation and a center of gathering in Talega. My grave concern is for our children's health and the consequences of spraying synthetic pesticides and herbicides anywhere where our children and families play together. I'm here to ask the city to make our parkways and city streets synthetic pesticide and herbicide-free zones. In the last few years, very alarming research and conclusions in reputable publications and organizations in the United States and around the world have determined that glyphosate, which is the main ingredient in Roundup and Ranger Pro and most of the synthetic weed control products, which is currently being sprayed in the city of San Clemente, is very harmful and detrimental to the health of our children in particular. These harmful health effects include cancer, lymphoma, and autism. Roundup and glyphosate, which is the main ingredient, is made by a company named Monsanto, who also was the creator of Agent Orange, PCBs, and DDT, all of which were presumed to be safe for some time until it was noticed the ill effects it was having on the environment and on humans. Glyphosate's turning out to make DDT look like Kool-Aid, and it's imperative that we cease using such harmful toxins for weed control. A dandelion's just not worth the cost of autism or Hodgkin's lymphoma for our children. Studies from the American Association of Pediatrics have shown great harm from the exposure of glyphosate in children. Children and adolescents are especially at risk given their less developed immune and reproductive systems. This year, the World Health Organization said glyphosate is a probable carcinogenic to humans and stated that there's evidence linking glyphosate to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Additionally, glyphosate's been found in the breast milk of women in levels that are of great concern and are well over toxicity levels that are considered safe to be healthy for both the mother and the child. Much research and many studies from senior scientists at the EPA, the FDA, the USDA, MIT Institute and American Academy of Pediatrics have covered the findings of the chemical toxins, and they're at an alarming rate found in our children, and they're making our children sick. I have letters from pediatricians as well as a whole list of studies about the main ingredient glyphosate, which I will email. I'm sorry I didn't do that beforehand, but I will send that to you first thing when I get home this evening. Just, highlighting the dangers of these chemicals. It's just not worth it for a dandelion weed to be subjecting our families and kids to this. I am asking that the city of San Clemente discontinues the application of harmful synthetic pesticides and herbicides in our city and employs a safe system of weed removal using organic methods. I'm asking that you investigate and choose these non-toxic alternatives. My research has found non-toxic organic alternatives not only are very highly effective in weed removal, and they're comparable in costs, they're not more expensive, and they do not pose a health risk to our children. Be Safe Lawn Care is currently used successfully.
Michelle, do you have a whole nother sheet to go through there?
Oh, I'll just sum it up really
Okay.
quick. So I'm asking, you can get training from Beyond Pesticides. I could give you information. Many
Have
municipalities.
you reached out to our city manager, James, yet?
No, but I
James, do you want to give her a
will.
card? That'll be the easiest way to do it. It's the most
Okay.
direct route.
Well,
So-
thank you for having me tonight, and thank you for everything you do for our city.
And I think that this topic has merit because it could be something that, we've been doing Roundup or whatever since the 1970s and nobody's bothered to look. So it might,
I have a sheet of research studies from very reputable organizations that I think you will see, whoa, it's not worth our kids' health.
Well, reach out to James, and then he'll direct you to the right
yeah.
staff member.
And
Thank you.
do send us the information.
I will this evening. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Jean Kirkland? Did I get that right? Perfect.
I thank each of you for allowing me to talk today. And I live in 3 counties. I'm a business owner in San Clemente. I've been a homeowner in San Clemente. The mission statement of the city says that the city of San Clemente and its partnership maintains a safe, healthy atmosphere in which to live, work, and play. But that has not been for me, not as a single person. It was like that for me years ago as a married person, as a mother, as a volunteer in the city, as a person who just loves my occupation and loves serving the community. I love what I do, and I exist now in this city, and I believe it's been God's ordained will that I'm here. I've not changed my character. I've not changed my principles. And I come from a family who has served in the military for many generations, even all the way back to the Civil War. I am the great-granddaughter of a gentleman who was a judge in the city of Memphis. I understand my heritage. I love my heritage. I love my country. But as a citizen, as a senior in this city, I should have not experienced what I've experienced. I've experienced bullying, harassing. I've experienced people yelling at me within few inches of my face. I've experienced being pushed, turned around, spun around. I've called 911 many times. I've called the police. This only happened to me as a single person and as I was approaching my senior years. And I am tougher because of this. I'm smarter because I've had to endure and learn and survive this. But my property managers and owner moved in a gentleman who and his group have done and practiced this behavior for years. I've had to endure this for 10, 12 years. And I've taken a radical position as of last year when I was served a no trespassing order in which I had called 911 and had not trespassed. The one police officer believed me. He checked out my story, and he told the other officer I was telling the truth. I've had charges trumped up against me, and we go to court next week in an eviction matter. I've had to take that stance because I'm tired. I'm getting emotional, but I really don't want to be emotional.
Do you need help with housing, or what are you asking us for this
Well,
evening?
my business. I've experienced this as a business owner. So
But what are you asking us to do for you?
I'm asking the city. I wish the city, each of you, had the power. This should have not happened to me. I wish you had the power to change what has happened. Within 2 doors of me, there's 2 other agencies, insurance agencies. I'm a licensed, independent insurance broker, and I've been doing this about 28 years. I am a licensed vehicle registration technician, and I've been told that they wish they had more like me.
I'm going to ask you, because each person gets 3 minutes.
Yes.
Our city manager will give you the name of Denise Abrero, who is in our social services area, and she can sort through if it's a business issue or a housing issue or a discrimination issue, and probably steer you to the most productive solution. Or assistant city manager, even better.
Thank you, Jean.
Yeah, sounds complicated.
Dawn, and following Dawn is Pete, and that's our last card.
Good evening, Mayor Ham and City Council. Recently, I was shocked when I saw a radio communications tower rise above the water treatment plant. It goes well into the blue sky from almost every view I can find in North Beach. It's really very ugly. It's like just one of these metal frameworks of like they use for concerts to put lights on and stuff. It's been a major improvement to get the power poles removed, the wires removed, and it seems counterproductive to just go ahead and put this up so high. It's a very unsightly tower. It breaks the horizon from almost every view. It's visible from all over North Beach. It's visible from the view areas of the outlet mall. It's visible from the millions of dollars of homes in its vicinity that are being built. There were no story poles, no notifications that I knew of. And I can't imagine that anyone would be allowed to build anything like this, any private person in the city. And I'm asking you, please, don't set back North Beach. We're trying so hard, and this thing is, they haven't put whatever structure on the top of it that they're gonna use. It's going to, I guess, control pump stations or something, but really, do we need to do a massive radio tower for that in the age of computers and phone lines and Wi-Fi and everything else that exists already? Maybe it's redundant, maybe it can be stopped. Please look into this, and thank you very much for this.
Don, is this the same issue you've been contacting me about, or is this a separate issue?
Separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next Monday, do you want to come down for Mayor's Hours and we can sit and talk about this
Yes.
other issue? Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, I didn't realize this was going on with the traffic circle. Please do that.
Okay.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks, Don. Pete?
Good evening, City Council members. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I also want to speak in support of improvements to the traffic circle / roundabout in North Beach. This sounds like if there were ever a need for actual leadership, this is a classic example for sure. I think the public is owed more than an explanation. What we're owed is a path or a method to success in projects like this that are community-driven. Where did this project go wrong? Whose toes did we step on? Is the problem the landscape material that's in there? Well, there are zero-escape solutions to that require virtually no water. Is the problem some kind of liability issue? Well, how about the liability of having bicyclists and scooter operators riding right through the current roundabout, because there really is no substance to the roundabout currently, just some yellow chicken heads that run around it. Drunks at night focused on the intersection beyond can easily bump through there, and I've seen skid marks over those chicken heads, suggesting that that's in fact what's happened. Whatever has to be solved here, please, let's work together to do it. I know you folks are capable of getting to the bottom of this. I use that roundabout 4 or 6 times a day, and it's a blessing as far as controlling the way traffic flows. It's totally successful, but let's make it beautiful, please. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. No other cards, Joanne?
No, that's all.
Okay.
I move that we waive reading in full of all resolutions and ordinances.
Second.
Motion by Doncheck, second by Brown. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
Closed session report, City Attorney.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. A few months ago, the City Council gave tentative approval to a settlement agreement in a lawsuit entitled Select Electric Inc. versus City of San Clemente. The terms of that settlement that were authorized by the council were approved and finalized since your last meeting, so we needed to announce that for the record. That settlement agreement is executed as a public record for anyone wishing to see it.
Okay. Lori? Any aye?
Aye, please.
Just aye?
Yes.
Okay. Tim? Kathy?
6A, 6B3, 6D, and 6F. Sorry. I'm making up for
A,
not
B,
pulling
3,
anything.
D, and F.
6B3.
A, B, 3, D, and F.
Yes.
Okay. Bob?
I got B1 and B7.
Okay. Hold on one second. Just want to make sure I got what was that issue? No, okay, we're good.
Move the balance.
Motion by Doncheck, second by Brown. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. 6A is the first item.
Okay, this will be very quick. This is the city council minutes
Okay.
of July 7th. On page 19, Joanne. This concerns an update that I gave on the Transportation Corridor Agency. It's the 4th line. I would like the words, "if the city of San Clemente," stricken from the record, and changed to "on legislation that." Because basically this says that the city of San Clemente was going to extend the state park lease, and I was only speaking of legislation being pronounced. So if the city of San Clemente was stricken and
What
the
page are you
words.
on, by the way?
Page 19.
19.
The
Got it.
third item under TCA.
Got it.
If it just said on legislation that extends the state park lease, that would correct it.
Okay.
Okay, so that was my only, and I'll move the item if no one else.
Okay. Motion by Ward, second by Baker. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 5-0. 6B1.
6B1 is the minutes of the Golf Course Committee meeting. There's a update on potential rules and regulations for the reinstatement of private carts. I would request that we get an update from Manager Nelson about what's going on and what the plans are, please.
I think that's great.
With that, I'll move the item.
Second. Motion by Baker, second by Ham. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
And sir, sorry, Mayor, just one, I want to interject one thing. If you haven't played the Muni in a while, you should get down there. It is in fabulous shape.
Great. 6B3. Okay.
I'm looking for it. I might have made an error on that one. Is there a second planning commission minutes on that? I might have pulled the wrong set.
6B7 are planning commission meetings also.
Okay, so excuse me on that. I think 6B3 is not what I wanted. I think I wanted 6B.
6B5 is also planning.
See, that's what I'm. 6B4, hold on one second. I do want to make a clarification on something that was said, and I can just say the comment. Okay, I did find it. It is 6B5, for the record.
So we got to make an amendment. So you have to move 3 and then
I can move, okay.
pull 3 up to 5. Okay.
I'll go ahead and move that we pass 6B3.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ward, second by Doncheck. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
Sorry about that. Okay, on to.
I move that we pull item 6B5.
Second.
Okay, motion by Hams.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry about that. On page 8, this was a very complicated thing that they did on the zoning amendments for South El Camino. They split it into different parts, but if you look under part number 2, it says at the last paragraph, it was moved and seconded and carried 6-0 to take a straw vote to indicate approval of zoning amendments in part 2. It's not telling us what those zoning amendments are. So in order to find out what that is, we have to then go look at the agenda item to look at that. So anyone reading this years from now is really not going to see what was approved, those zoning amendments. And it also goes for part 3 on this page. It says, the very last sentence, they took a straw vote to indicate approval of the general plan and zoning amendments in part 3. What is part 3? So, I know that the Planning Commission's going to take this up tomorrow, but I just wanted to comment that maybe we're streamlining these a little too much. If it's a zoning amendment, I'd like to see really what it is without having to go back to the agenda and try and figure it out and correlate that. I just think the record in future years is not going to be clear.
Well, it's interesting because they did outline for part 1 on page.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe 2 and 3 was very simple, but then let's just list it really quick what those zoning amendments were, just so the record's clear. And so with that, I'll move that. That's my only comment.
Well, how are we going to solve that issue?
I think we'll work with the Planning Commission Secretary to make those a little bit more complete and bring that level of detail.
Yeah, because this is a draft.
Yeah.
Right, and they're going to approve it tomorrow. Or maybe they'll have the same comment, but I just want to put it out there in case Don Brown might see this, that they'll look at that tomorrow. Because it's just not clear what they want.
Yeah, I agree, and especially if it's a straw vote, I'd like to see what the direction is, especially in this case, because that'll give me some.
Trying to follow it.
Yeah, so, all right, thank
We
you.
can give that clarification.
Thank you.
So I'll move that item.
Second.
Ward, second by Baker. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. 6B7. Bob, was that you?
That is me, yes. 6B7 7, let me see what page I'm on here. Page 7, 234 West Avenida, San Antonio. This is granting a variance for a very challenged lot on this street, and it was approved unanimously. But I had some legal questions about that, Scott. There was some discussion during the Planning Commission meeting about the city having an obligation, and maybe Amber can answer that. I don't know. Amber and I spoke on the phone today, and there was some discussion at the meeting about the city having an obligation, I think was the word used, or, well.
So after I spoke to Mr. Baker today, I went back and reviewed the tape, and during the course of discussion where Commissioner Wu had questioned the encroachment into the front yard setback for the variance and discussing the setback for the coastal canyon and the coastal canyon weighing in, what the city planner had stated was that the commissioners were charged with establishing the front yard setback through the variance, and that the planning commission would be charged with establishing the rear yard setback. And when he had discussed that, he had brought up Nolan.
Amber, you said the Planning Commission, you really meant the Coastal Commission.
I'm sorry, yes, I meant the coastal commission. That the coastal commission would be setting the rear yard setback. And then he had mentioned Nolan and Dolan, and that the coastal commission would also have to probably give a little bit on their end to make sure that they were not violating that. So in reviewing that tape, what I heard was he was referencing that coastal would have to take into account Nolan and Dolan, not the city.
Okay. Well, then, in that case, I would love to hear more about this project, because I'm not certain that a variance in this very challenged neighborhood is frankly appropriate. The current setback on the street varies from 18 inches to something like 16 feet, and with a median of 10.5 feet. This particular applicant is asking for a variance to go down to 4 feet, which it's a very challenging lot. And the reason he's doing it is because the lot extends back about, I don't know, on a triangle shaped about 15 feet on one side, and then you go down a steep canyon. So he's challenged with keeping his house to the front on the level part of it, so he doesn't encroach too far into the canyon. And they've shoved it to the front of the lot to keep it out of the canyon and away from the Coastal Commission. And I'm not sure we should do that. It's a very difficult, very challenging site that, frankly, I'd like to take a look at, because it's. I am.
I was just looking it up. Yeah, I think we usually, before we've had a motion and a second and a vote on that. It doesn't take all three, but it takes three to deny it, so yeah, if you.
So if nobody opposes it.
If nobody opposes it, and there's two, yeah. Yeah, so if the record notes that there's no opposition. Right.
Does anybody have any opposition? No. Okay, no
If
opposition.
you did,
noted.
we'd have a motion and a second, but thank you.
There we
That's
go.
all we need.
Okay. So with that, you'll move the rest of 6B7?
Yes. Yes, I will.
Okay, I'll second that.
Thank you.
So motion by Baker, second by Ham. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Five. No, now there was no opposition to. Yeah. You good? Okay, now we're on 6D. Thank you, and let the record show 5-0.
And I pulled this. Is Cliff Jones here? I didn't see you in the back. I thought I would get you, I've never had that where a staff member came out from the side. I think this is great. This is something that we've studied for a long time, changing the parking time on this Cabrillo lot. Problem was, some people were using it as commuter parking, and so that showed up in our license plate survey, I believe. So what I wanted to talk to council about, and staff maybe, is looking into whether we have any zoning that would support us, or an ordinance that would support us putting up a sign at the other 3-hour lots saying no commuter parking. If we had any type of zoning or anything that would support that. Because what
Siri
I
says
fear
it's
is
okay.
gonna happen is we've taken care of this lot, they're just gonna move to the other 8-hour or all-day lots. So
I think
if-
that's a great question, because, you know, the library, for example, the librarian was saying that
It's
the
used.
people across the street use it for overnight parking. You know, it gets used by employees that have been told by their business owners they can't park on Del Mar, so.
So I don't want to just move the problem, so, you know, I just think if we do have commuters meeting somewhere, they're just going to move to a different lot. So can we direct staff to just look into that?
Yeah, if you direct staff
whether
to
we
look
could
into
do
that, we can look into that.
And that's all I have on that.
Okay.
I'll move it.
I'll second. Motion by Ward, second by Ham. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Item F. You did. Calle Frontera.
I want. It's F. So that's you.
Calle Frontera.
Yes. And this item for rehabbing Frontera from Pico to Vista Hermosa came in so under budget. I thought that really you deserved to talk about this. And I really want you to explain what you came up with.
I'm emotional, it's so under.
Yes, it is. It never happens.
It was because you didn't go with the Tom Frank bicycle lane, right? That's what did it.
Well,
No, that is not it. That is not it.
well, thank you. It was under budget, and we're always looking for ways to most cost-effectively maintain the pavement infrastructure, especially since the termination of the assessment district, we lost about $1 million a year. So we're looking for ways to maximize the efficiency, and in this case, when we're budgeting for a project, we go out and do a preliminary investigation. Frontera looked like it was in really bad shape. If you remember, we had our discussions about the striping alternatives. There was pieces popping off. It looked like we had to do quite an extensive pavement removal process. But during our design process and investigation, we determined that we thought it might be just a failing cap. And so the scope of the contract entailed removing the cap and then reinvestigating the subgrade and the structural section. So as a result, we were able to not remove as much pavement structural section as originally we thought we had to. So we came in much under budget.
So didn't you say that you came up with a new way to evaluate the
Right, and
pavement?
if we suspect, or if we're not sure about what the structural section is of the roadway, if it's able to handle a projected traffic loads, we'll go out and do core samplings, and then as a matter of practice now, we're going to do our grinding before we determine the limits of removal for the structural removal sections. So that's a new way of doing our
So
evaluations.
why don't you say how much this was budgeted for and what it came in at, this project?
So it was budgeted at $1.2 million, and it came in, the complete costs were $561,000.
Wow, look at this.
It's actually
There's a stereo over here.
You know the slow clap?
Look at Bill Cameron back there.
So we'll obviously use these funds to fund future SIP projects. We have an endless list, and our goal is always to maintain the city's pavement infrastructure in the most cost-effective manner possible.
How much sidewalk can we build with this money is all I want to know, Tom.
It has to go for
We're
road.
focused on maintaining the pavement infrastructure, which
Okay.
is a really smart fiscal decision for
What
the
about
city
roundabouts?
council.
Can we build roundabouts with this money?
Not with this money. This is for pavement. Yeah.
But I think that you and your team really deserve a great job.
No, actually, it's the
Yes.
whole design team. Gary Voborski, Ben Parker.
I think that would
everybody in
actually be the
engineering.
most
Yeah,
offensive
we
thing we
worked
could do, because he had a plan A and you guys went with plan C, so to name it the Tom Frank Memorial Plan.
Avenida Frank.
Absolutely horrible.
Let's call it Avenida
on.
Frank.
Saved on some striping costs.
Exactly, yeah.
Wait a minute, Bill Cameron taught him everything he knows. What are you talking about there?
I'd name it after Bill, but he'd really be mad if I
made the pavement fund.
Excuse me, but I do want to say something that I really appreciate the council recognizing Tom and his staff, because they came up with this idea. It wasn't mine at all. And I'm really proud of what they did, because they have saved the city a lot of money, and Tom and his group are really looking at ways to try to help conserve our very fragile gas tax fund. So,
Perfect.
many
Then we're not
kudos
naming it
to
after
the
Bill
staff.
anymore. Bill, forget it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Tom.
Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
So that's the only reason I pulled
Okay.
that. So I'll move it.
Second, motion by Ward, second by Hamel, in favor. Aye, opposed, 5-0. Okay, item I.
Okay, this one is the one I pulled, which is the contract award to American Guard Services for crossing guards. And I wanted to heighten the appreciation of our council to the fact that the city puts upwards of $100,000 into crossing guards each year, and that is unusual. It happens in about half of the cities in the state that a city comes forward and puts the safety of the kids into the budget. So I wanted to let you know we have 10 points where we have crossing guards, and the school year is starting earlier this year. And my question, Tom, was sometimes I believe if it isn't broken, don't fix it.
Right.
And the crossing guards become almost the ambassadors to the school, and I notice we're changing vendors.
Correct.
And I appreciate that you're going to be doing training, but for the $5,000 differential, did you really feel strongly enough that the lowest cost provider was the best decision for the city this year?
Yes, we did. We had, as written in the report, we had different factors for the evaluation of our selection criteria, and so it wasn't based on sole cost alone.
Great. So I just basically wanted to let everybody know, it's $113,000 of our residents' dollars that are going to public safety around the schools. And also, I was going to ask, I don't know how you do it, but can you reach out to the schools and remind them that with
Right.
school starting, that we need the best possible etiquette from the drivers?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Before you move this item, I thought you and Tim were gonna jump on board this and say, if we had our own school district, this money wouldn't be coming out of this fund, it'd be coming out of the school fund, and so our residents would be paying $113,000. Is that not where you want to go with this?
Bob would have Bob would use it
Tough.
for a bus fleet. He loves those buses, love the buses. They got wheels and they go places. It's amazing.
Actually, it brings back the
And they carry 50 kids in them, yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh, and in truth, that's why this is so important, because the buses are gone, and so you just have the traffic jams all around the schools, especially drop-off in the morning. So
Tom,
I'll move the item.
Can one other thing before, and I made a note of this, and could you do me a favor? Just could you track when these were approved? So, for example, each of these locations, I don't know if it's possible, but just to have, when you provide the report, the location, the school name, and then when the council instituted it,
You're playing Russian roulette right now, Tim. This is the first time we haven't heard one speaker card on this item since I've been on council in 3 years, so. Yes, bring this back to us, Tom, we can talk about it more.
not to bring it back, but the reason is this, is for example, I could see this just going on autopilot for a number of years. And, we should, after every 10 years, just reevaluate an intersection or look how things are going. And so, I'm not saying we shouldn't just assume in perpetuity that this is needed. Demographics change in this city very quickly. You'll have a population explosion in Talega, and then it works through the pipeline, and then you have like I'm in Southwest where there aren't any kids anymore, but needs change. So we just need to evaluate these periodically and ensure that, that the criteria is being met that they were originally established under. And if it was done 20 years ago by a different council, maybe their decision criteria was a little different, and we should, look at these things more than never.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Sure. We'll do that next time we,
Well, and to that
up the
point, at the
contract.
mobility task force meeting, there was a brief conversation about, do we need a crossing guard at Frontera to help the kids get across the bridge, and that would be an add to the list.
But we spend an awful lot of money on safe routes to school projects in this town. Do we get any fruit from that, whereas now we don't need a crossing guard anymore? I wonder.
Well, it's a good point. We do spend a lot on safe routes to school, and Tim's point's well taken. If we change the configuration of an intersection, we can take a look to see if the warrants are still there for the crossing guard.
Perfect example is Concordia, right? You had made a recommendation to, eventually there's going to be a commercial project built on that corner,
Right.
Because it's for sale, which could reconfigure those intersections, or, Caltrans takes action and redoes it and creates not I don't remember, it was 100 foot?
It was huge.
It was a
Yeah, it's
huge
like
gap.
80 feet.
All of a
Yeah,
sudden it
it's
becomes
big.
half that amount. Is it so necessary anymore. And so we just, at some point, we should be evaluating these on some frequency to ensure that.
So I'll put a file in, or a note in our file to reevaluate the crossing guard locations. Put the dates of
The
when they were
date that the
established in
decision
report.
was, that these were established, because if it was established 30 years ago or 20 years ago, then maybe the date is a little different. But if it was done 3 years ago, then that's different too, so.
Okay.
But also, anytime we do change the configuration, maybe study it for the next year. You know, you set that where we're going to study it for a year after that new configuration. Because don't we have a grant pending for that intersection for Concordia?
Well, all the
I thought we have a
before
grant
it,
request.
Before it.
Yeah, it won't really change configuration though. It's just for
Oh,
bike
it's
lane
not.
widenings.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Lori moved the item, I'll second it, so motion by Doncheck, second by Ham, all those in favor? Aye, opposed, passes 5-0.
Yeah, Mayor, if you don't mind, before you move off this section, I've got one question for Mr. Cameron that I forgot to ask in relation to item 6E. Talks about recycled water, and there's a couple of... Dave was gonna, okay.
You don't want to just, we gotta repull.
No, we did the item, I just have a question for him, not regarding this specifically, but regarding recycled water in general. We did a great amount of the town where we missed a couple of spots that, for various reasons. Are there any plans to go into some other areas of town?
Yes, right now, as we're working on converting customers, what we're finding is that our consultant with RMC, Craig Erickson, and various homeowner associations, they're being fairly proactive, and we're finding additional sites that weren't anticipated. So we'll probably be coming back to the council with an additional 12 meters within the next month or so to be added. So we're finding new customers, and we've also had requests to extend pipelines to connect customers as well, and we're looking into additional capacities through our sewer master plan, looking at seasonal storage, because we only have a certain amount of recycled water that or sewer that's available and supply. So we're looking at potential seasonal storage if we're looking at any major expansions to our system.
Because as you well know, Dave, there's an awful lot of state money around for grants in this neighborhood, so maybe
Yeah.
we'll be a candidate if we can come up with some good ideas.
Yeah, Prop 1A is a great example of a potential if the city decides it wants to expand its system. You know, there's definitely funding available through 1A.
Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Mayor, did we move the balance when we pulled
Yes.
these? You did?
Thank you. Okay, that was the last item, there's nothing from public.
Okay, next item is a report from the Community Development Director concerning the possibility of canceling the city's Mobile Home Park Act local enforcement responsibilities.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. I'm Cecilia Gallardo-Daly, Community Development Director. This item is consideration of cancellation of Mobile Home Park Act local enforcement responsibilities within the mobile home parks in the city of San Clemente. Hold on here. There we go. The Mobile Home Parks Act is the state's regulatory framework for mobile home parks. It establishes the requirements and permitting for mobile home parks and delegates the enforcement of the Mobile Home Park Act to the state's Department of Housing and Community Development. State law also allows local jurisdictions to assume enforcement authority if they so choose. In 1961, the city assumed local enforcement of the provisions of the Mobile Home Park Act for the mobile homes within the city boundaries. The city has 3 mobile home parks: Shore Cliffs, Palm Beach, and Capistrano Shores. The Mobile Home Park Act preempts the city's zoning regulations, and Title 25 is the code of regulations that governs mobile home park construction, maintenance, use, occupancy, and design. The city's building division verifies compliance with Title 25 for the replacement of units and accessory improvements only. Alteration projects do not fall under the jurisdiction of the city and instead must be reviewed and permitted by Housing and Community Development. Common mobile home alteration projects that require HCD approval include any alterations and additions to the structure, plumbing, mechanical, and electrical systems, window and door replacements, remodeling, installation of fireplaces, air conditioning, and re-roofing. As the process is currently established, anyone who wishes to repair, replace, or alter their mobile home must either come to the city or HCD for their Title 25 review, depending on the nature of the work. On June 8th, 2015, the city received a written notice of corrective action from HCD indicating an unsatisfactory rating for San Clemente's local enforcement of the Mobile Home Park program. The alleged deficiencies include failing to conduct mobile home park maintenance inspections annually, acting in excess of our local enforcement agency authority by enforcing our local zoning regulations, acting in excess of our local enforcement agency authority by requiring Coastal Commission coastal development permits as a precondition to issuing the LEA permits, and imposing a pre-approval process on permit applications and charging a fee for that review. In HCD's notice to the city, they identified that if the city failed to make any corrective action, they will revoke enforcement and authority, and they imposed a deadline of August 10, 2015 for the city to take any necessary actions. As to the mobile home park maintenance inspections, the city last performed inspections of mobile home parks in 1993. Performing these required inspections has been deferred due to the lack of available resources. The city is allowed to collect a $4 per lot annual inspection fee. However, this amount is not sufficient to cover the city's costs of providing enforcement in the mobile home parks. It's estimated that the annual cost for performing these inspections is $15,600 each year. Returning the regulation of mobile home parks to HCD would eliminate the need to implement a mobile home park inspection program, which doesn't fully recover program costs. Returning regulation of mobile home parks to HCD would also eliminate a confusing regulatory process involving both the city and HCD and simplify the process of obtaining permits for our mobile home park residents. Without LEA delegation, the city would not review building plans and issue permits for compliance with Title 25. Returning mobile home park enforcement to HCD also removes the city from the permitting process, which has resulted in the city's involvement in a number of costly lawsuits. The city attorney has indicated that canceling mobile home park enforcement responsibility would resolve disputes in the current litigation relating to LEA permitting. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt the ordinance authorizing the notification to the California Department of Housing and Community Development for the cancellation of local enforcement responsibility for the Mobile Home Parks Act and the Special Occupancy Act. That concludes staff's report. I'm available for questions, and Mike Jorgensen, the city's building official, is also available for
Do we
questions
have
as
any
well.
cards, Joanne?
Thank you.
Do we have any questions for staff? Bob? Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do it, which is to approve staff recommendation, which is option 1, which is authorize city staff to notify the Department of Housing and Community Development, HCD, and that the city intends to cancel local enforcement authority responsibilities and return mobile home park enforcement to HCD. And also introduce ordinance 1604 entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Clemente, California, authorizing notification to the California Department of Housing and Community Development for the cancellation of local enforcement responsibilities for the Mobile Home Parks Act and the Special Occupancy Parks Act.
Second.
The ordinance shall take effect 90 days following receipt by the Department of Housing and Community Development pursuant to subdivisions 18,300 parentheses E and 18,865 parentheses E of the California Health and Safety Code.
Second. Motion by Donchak, second by Ham. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Do we have any cards for oral communications part 2?
No, sir.
Okay.
City manager?
Nothing to report.
City Attorney,
Nothing more tonight, thank you.
update from Councilmember Donchak on the California Joint Powers Insurance Authority.
Okay, this is going to be about a 5-minute spiel. And as all of you know, insurance is one of our top 5 budget items. Carrying insurance for a city is a big deal. So I'm our representative to the California Joint Powers Insurance Authority. And just for perspective, there's 117 members, and they range from cities to authorities to school districts to police and fire all across the state. The state is divided into 5 regions, 5 districts, and Thorndal is our face to the CJPIA. And basically what the insurance authority gives us is, first of all, they have a thing called a loss cap program. And what the authority does is it comes to each city, sits down, drives around, figures out where our risks are, and gives each city a plan for how to correct or anticipate or manage against those risks. The loss cap program is huge, and I'm calling it to your attention because our city has one of the less successful loss histories. We are not considered a model city in terms of our insurance needs, mainly because of subsidence, also because of trip and fall accidents, and of the fact that we're an older city in the world of cities in California. So loss cap gives an audit of city risks. It gives a protocol for good governance. Our city council is regarded as one of the higher functioning city councils. There are some that are not as effective as ours, and so that's nice to get recognition for that. And then the Insurance Authority also offers training. They offered 25,000 training contacts in fiscal 15. And for those of you that were on council 2 years ago, we did the Bickmore study because we were thinking about, we wanted to make sure, given how big the budget item was, that we were with the right insurance pool. And the Joint Powers Insurance Authority makes the most sense for San Clemente. For a lot of reasons. The training is one piece, the subsidence insurance is another piece. They designed custom insurance for the pedestrian audible warning system and quiet zone program. So it's been a real healthy relationship. So let me see, can you advance to the next?
Before you leave that slide, what does training, 25,000 training, I assume that means contact 15, fiscal year 15.
Yeah, that's my typing.
But that's, no, but what does that mean? What is 25,000 training
So what
contact?
that means is, for example, I think Councilmember Ward and the city manager are going to Managing Risk Like a Champion, which is a 2-day program.
I'm just letting Kathy.
Yeah, oh, she's got it. Yeah. And that's September 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and that's a series of training seminars. There's webinars if you go to the website, if there's something you're interested in. One of the modules, which I'm hoping one of our city representatives will attend, has to do with SB2 and how a city works through that. So the training is all over the place. We are, because I'm on the executive board, I say we there's a couple cities where we're doing city council training because the issues among the council members are getting in the way of good governance in the city. So it's pretty impressive, and it's unique to the insurance authority. So next one. Okay, so here's some things. I mentioned that I'm on the executive board, and I'm really proud to be on that because there's just 9 of us. These are some of the things we've approved in the last year that are relevant to our city. We're offering help with critical areas of ADA compliance, including self-assessments of programs, buildings, public rights-of-way. There's $5 million in short-term loans available to provide seed money for members in funding capital improvement projects. And we all know $5 million isn't a lot. It's a pilot program, but and we also offer software to track ADA compliance, so that's important. There's a sidewalk inspection pilot program. This is kind of interesting because who knew? Trips and falls, sidewalk slip and trip, that's the single biggest drain on the insurance pool. And over $10 million, it's actually $14 million, was paid out for slip and fall hazards. So right now, the JPIA is doing a pilot program with 10 members, and hopefully it'll be successful and extended to all membership. Next slide, please. There's a technician program. This is basically outsourcing, not relevant so much to our city because we've got a fantastic staff. But there are special insurance-related, risk-related functions that if you need to outsource or have a short-term assignment, including policy writing, inspections, safety meetings, content analysis, the JPIA offers that. And then finally, we initiated for all members cyber liability, and that is coverage that includes privacy liability, security breach response, business income loss, digital asset restoration costs, and cyber extortion threats. So it's a pretty cool thing. And I think I have one more slide. Oh, no. Okay, so back up then to the yellow ones. So any questions on the insurance authority?
That's great.
No? Okay, so yeah, we're in really good hands. But I did want to point out, I mentioned this to our new city manager about how we were not one of the most risk savvy in the pool. And without missing a beat, explain what you talked about with the storm drains.
Well, I've met with the Public Works Director, Bill Cameron, recently, and we started talking about El Nino and what the city's doing to prepare for El Nino if it happens. So Bill and his team are evaluating the storm drains and catch basins and that sort of thing, starting to look at sandbags, if we have those on stock, how many do we need? What do we need to prepare if El Nino happens in this winter? So we're looking, we're getting that together. Katie Carpenter and the EOC is putting together a group of storm response employees that are up to date on everything and starting planning in case El Nino happens.
Are we going to do a group purchase on gun surfboards for this winter's big swells? Is that part of the pre-plan?
If that's what you'd like, Mayor, anything for you.
Okay, perfect.
And might that be a good idea for local homeowners and local business owners to think about what they're going to be faced with if we do get an El Nino, to make sure they've got windows and doors and roofs that seal out the
We
weather?
can start putting together a public awareness campaign, and I think we'll start working with the Sheriff's Department and the Fire Department to see how they're preparing and how they can help us distribute sandbags to the residents.
Thank you.
And the other stakeholder group are the HOAs. I was walking out behind Talega, and I was noticing they have big grills on some of the pipes, and it all starts uphill and comes down, but outreach to the HOAs to make sure that they're ready. But I was really impressed by that kind of proactive thinking. We recently had a case at JPIA involving that apartment building down by the Pier Bowl, where some tree roots got into the pipes and caused a lot of havoc. And so this kind of forward thinking is really appreciated. So, okay, and that concludes my remarks. And are you going to the two-day event? The
Conference? JPIA? Yes.
You both are going, and
Kathy and I
Hannah's
are
going?
Kathy and I are both going. I don't think Hannah's going at this time.
I would urge you to divide and conquer. I was looking at the program. It's fantastic.
I looked at the classes that I was interested in, and I passed them on to Kathy and said, what are you interested in? And then make sure we're not doubling up, and we split it up so we could go to get the most bang for our buck.
So we're doing that.
And then I have one other council member item, which is San Francisco, which just makes me smile. Okay, we put the San Clemente Summit in place December 2013. And speaking of Hannah Thorndal, her dad picked up the little book that was in the mailbox at the summit, and he, with bless his heart, put a new one in there. So listen to what people are saying. I just put some quotes up here. Saw my first Roadrunner, had a lovely frolic, 62nd birthday, spectacular views, rattlers and all, be amazed. Love this place. I love this one. You can see everything from here. This is cool. Love Josie. I'm 9 years old. I was confused finding a random mailbox on my hike and decided to open it, and I found this and was surprised. Oh yes, the hike and view were beautiful. Moomin Troll enjoyed the hike. It's just page after page. My friend just got attacked by a cactus. I'm going to get him home right now. Goodbye. We made it, lots of poppies. My calves hurt.
They're hearts. They're hearts.
They're little hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movement Troll, I have no idea what it means.
I don't know what that is either. Saw a coyote, love this hike. There's things in different languages here. Before you criticize someone, walk a mile in their shoes to the San Clemente summit. Then they will be a mile away, and you'll have their shoes. Anyway, so I'm going to pass this over to city staff, and maybe in the Recreation magazine, you can just pick some quotes out of this next time around. But pretty gratifying. So that concludes my council member comments.
So there's a couple of items that I wanted to bring up tonight. The first of which is we received a request for support for charter schools. There's a charter school that's looking to be initiated up in the Calle area, and we can circulate samples of that letter. But I had requested of the city manager that what would it take for the city to write an official letter of support, at least for the council members to write it on city letterhead. He thought it would be a good idea to roundtable it here for your support or, your comments on that. And so we'll get the letter circulated, or has it? I believe it's already been circulated.
I already wrote my own,
Yeah.
so I'm done.
We can prepare a letter, and with the council's support, we can put it for the mayor's signature and distribute it.
I think my position on this is I'm happy to support any initiative for increased quality of education in some form or fashion. And so this is one initiative amongst a few that, I think that the council should be able to support because it's a, educational choice in our city. And I think it's something that has merit. So I'd like to do that and move forward with that.
Before we go there, though, I need some information about charter schools. I need to know, do charter schools take money from public schools that aren't charter schools? I need information on how does that work? Who gets into a charter school? Who picks kids that get to go to a charter school? Who picks the educators? All that stuff.
I can't answer any of those questions, but I know the people who can. And so we can put you in touch with them.
Well,
to see if you want.
before the city council sends a letter, I'd like to see the pros and cons of charter schools. I mean, I guess we could write volumes on that,
I don't know if I
I'm
want to
sure,
agendize the item. I mean, this is more an informational piece.
Tim, I thought you were going down the line that we'd have one drawn up by staff, and then individually we can each sign one if that's what we choose to do.
That was fine. We could do that. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
So we don't sign it as a whole.
There we
Each
go.
council member could sign it at their own volition.
Sure.
Okay. Second item is we also had circulated a staff memorandum that was very well written regarding San Clemente starting its own school district. And this was something that I'd requested during the budget process, just primarily because we had a lot of things that were going on that were not comfortable, and many of our residents had communicated that. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to initiate that discussion to see if there's something that's viable? What I'd like to record, and there was a very great memorandum that was produced, and it really detailed exactly what this is. I've called a few people that weren't as involved in this process. Have they read the memorandum? Have they received it? Most people haven't. It's been on the website. It's been, we chatted about it here, but most people aren't aware of it. So what I'd like to propose that, and this would, in my mind, complete the city's involvement in this initiative. I'd like to propose an informational meeting, something perhaps held here in council chambers where we could just do a simple PowerPoint. Staff could prepare a PowerPoint that would highlight the elements of this and allow for the city to present the findings to residents, not to take a position one way or the other, not to take any advocacy, not to really commence anything, but to present that information because we spent some time compiling it. And then at that point, if there's a citizen group that would like to form around this and pursue it, then I would be supportive of that. But I think that I'd like to promulgate the information in a different way than what has been done. And so it would be creating more of a summary PowerPoint, inviting folks here, doing a meeting, and then, basically letting it go from where it goes from there.
Tim, I don't want to downplay this at all because I was in support of this when you brought this originally. But what do you think about maybe kicking this down to the Human Affairs Committee, and they can do it there? Just that way it's a little more time efficient. and that way it still gets notified. to
Well,
the
this
public.
wouldn't be a council meeting.
Oh, okay.
This would be just an
Oh,
informational,
got it.
residents
Sorry.
come, if you're interested in this,
Okay.
here's a time, place, and we'll just tell you what we've done. No advocacy, nothing, present it to residents. And then, council would be invited, and we could have staff present, and then I, with some of the information, I could present what we've learned, maybe even if there's somebody in it, and then what the residents would like to do with that information is up to them.
I had a separate idea, but I don't know if I don't want to mix it.
That looked really good for a second.
Wow, I thought this shocking was gonna come out,
What's the
yeah.
Friday coffee thing? No,
Coffee with a
Coffee with a
cop?
cop.
No, the Friday coffee thing through this.
Oh, Cafe Calypso.
Cafe Calypso.
Cafe Calypso, yeah.
Opportunity for you to do one of those meet and greet. I don't know if those are
It's
cool.
at 8 in the morning, though. It's kind of hard to get.
Well,
to.
is there a better venue than this chamber?
I was going
Is
to
there-
suggest that, maybe the community center.
Yeah.
We do the
maybe-
community center, something where we could benefit from a PowerPoint presentation and be able to kind of, we've done some research here, and the city has initiated something. It's important for people to know what this is, and maybe even there's an expert that we use that we could come in and answer, do some Q&A. But yeah, I think community center would be an excellent place to do it.
Well, see, but there hasn't been any, groundswell of support for this from folks. I haven't heard any more about it.
I've heard more about it
since-
because I've requested it, and so, I don't know if we would fill a community center. Maybe that's why I thought this room would be probably pretty appropriate, given there's about 60 chairs.
I'm not sure we want to give the impression that city council thinks this is a good idea, because we're going to be neutral on the issue until we.
I think this
get
is an
more.
informational meeting.
Well, let's do it somewhere other than here then, if we're going to do informational. Fireside room.
Ole Hanson room.
Something, yeah, Ole Hanson room, something like that.
And the other thing I would add is, I thought it was excellently done, and I really appreciate that it was put together. But one of the conclusions was that, as you pointed out, it's going to be a parent advocacy group. So after this sharing of the information, I think the city steps back and lets the community decide what they need to do now that they've got the information.
Yes, that is accurate, that this is an opportunity. I initiated this process to learn more information, to ask and see what would it entail. It entails parents, and it entails residents of our city who are passionate about this becoming involved. And so, rather than a memorandum, and just allowing people to draw those lessons, I think we need to perhaps do it in maybe a more informational manner, so that people can ask some questions and maybe get some answers. But the council isn't driving any initiative here. This is for the residents to do what they will with it.
So we're just giving them a way of a platform to get it out to the community.
Just as
and
More
we'll
proactive
put the
outreach
notice
as opposed
out.
to passive outreach.
Yeah,
We'll
exactly.
put the notice out, but they will also rely on them to do it also.
That's right.
Get the people
Great.
there.
Do I have council support on that?
Yeah.
With that, we'll just get some dates on the calendar. It's going to be after, mid-September probably, I would imagine, the first or second week of September. And then we'll be able to promulgate the information at that point.
And find out what time is best, because, to the point about the Cafe Calypso, I hear so many parents say either they didn't have time to drop off their kids and get there, or, there's something going on, so I don't know if it's 6 in the
I
evening.
tell them all the time, 8 a.m. is too early. It's way before my.
Yeah.
I've heard that too.
We'll try and pick a time that will, that folks can, obviously we want as many people to attend as possible. I mean, this is great information, just so that you can appraise, whether or not this is a viable thing, if charter schools are a better initiative, whatever the folks want to pursue. And so, we'll try and pick a time where we get as many people there as, so they can learn for themselves.
Great.
Okay.
That's your last item?
What's that?
That's your last item? That's it. Kathy?
I have one item I want to bring up that was brought up today in open comments. The LED lights, I know we recently did approve them. Tom Vonnegut brought in 2 lights for us to look at, I think an old one and the new LED. And while Tom has clarified, I don't think the lights are the blue light that everyone says to stay away from. They are a warm white. According to Tom, they're 4,000 K temperature. So that's a warm white, but they're still white. That's the point that I want to make. So I think I would like to agendize it, if that's what we have to do, to talk about it again, and then see, I'm kind of, or what we want to do on it, because I'm kind of uncomfortable that the way we approved it. We just went with the assumption, granted, it's in the literature that these are dark skies approved, but we have received something from a planning commissioner that he helped us write our dark sky part in our general plan, and there are some concerns with this. I did do my own independent research, and there are some other colors available that staff did not have time to take into account. So I don't want to talk about it too much, but I'd like to agendize it and then just kind of direct staff, like maybe put off buying these until we really are sure or decide on how we're going to evaluate our lights.
Joanne and Scott, if you guys can help me out, she was part of the majority we approved that, so she can pull the item back, right? We can rehear the item.
She can bring it forward, and then if the council supports it, sure.
Yeah. So.
Have the lights been purchased?
I don't believe so. We haven't had an expenditure yet.
I just think
I'm in no rush to get these LED
more.
lights up. If we need to talk about it, we went fairly quick.
There are examples up in town. There's 4 of them at the corner of Pico and La Plata, and I've been there. They're terrific. They are spectacular. They don't bounce back into the sky. They're much better for public safety, and I don't know what all the teeth gnashing about this is.
Scott's giving you the stink eye about overreaching.
We're going to talk about pros and cons, so I'd rather if you want to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for teeing it
Let's
up on both
debate it.
sides, yeah.
If we agendize it, let's debate it.
It's, I mean, it's not a rush item,
Just a
so.
little more information, just to make sure
Okay.
we're doing the right thing.
Unless you were going down the path that you didn't want to agendize it because.
If we want to, yeah, I don't care. Whatever. I'm just, yeah, whatever.
Okay, the only way I'm going to support re-agendizing is if staff studies the ones that are existing on the corner before they bring it back to us, and they have. No, the refractory, like,
We should look into the bounce back.
According to the literature, for the light heads, they have a 0 bug rating, which is the best rating you can have for bounce back into the night sky.
Because of the shield on top. So we are debating it a little, probably too much.
I think you're talking about, yeah.
So-
I'm
Talking about
okay
whether you
with
should
re-agendizing.
talk about it.
I'm
it's
fine with re-agendizing.
I do
It's not-
agree. I just, we got a memo that there were some other colors available, and maybe we should really look into that just a little bit more.
Is it possible for an informational item to be presented to us with just a little bit more detail in council? I mean, more of
Special
a
presentation,
special
basically?
presentation type thing as opposed to a agenda item, and, because this is really a degree of comfort, right? Just more comfort that we're compliant with our general plan, the dark skies. I don't know if I want to reopen it all and tear it apart, but there's certain things that Wayne has brought up and Jim has brought up that maybe can be addressed on point and allow us to, allow
Scott?
Tom to have.
You could agendize it as a report. Actually, that'd be my recommendation. I think what you did, if I remember the action, was to leave to staff the issue of the exact bulk purchase. So if you have a report back and have them elaborate on that, then you could decide whether to take that back on reconsideration or
There we
not.
go.
I think you get there either way. But
That works for me. Zach, are you good with that?
Yes, but I would also like staff to talk about the other colors that are available from this company, the
And that's fine,
Cobra
we can give that
headlight.
direction.
I think that'd be part of
And
the
a little
report,
more on that,
yeah.
because we didn't have time to do that.
That's fine. Okay.
I think the point of the informational item would be address point by point the things that are the concerns and provide us information that would either address those concerns or provide proper context.
Or you pull back that delegation and you could decide then.
Yeah,
what
there
to-
you go.
Yeah.
And also if there's a cost involved,
Yeah.
that would be important information.
If I remember correctly, this was all coming from SDG&E, a reimbursement. We were putting the money out, and they were going to reimburse us for the lights.
Nice. Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing a report on those things. Bob?
I've been having some great time on our days off. I went to the Camp Pendleton Naval Hospital Change of Command ceremony a couple of weeks ago. Terrific ceremony down there. Captain Lisa Mulligan relieved Captain Mike Cabrillo, who's been there for a couple of years and was the commanding officer while the new hospital was being built. He's moving on to the 6th Fleet. Terrific ceremony. The chief doc, I'm drawing a blank on what the head doc in the Navy's called, but he was there and told some great stories about his time when he was serving the Marines. Anyway, very close to us here, take good care of our Marines down there at Naval Hospital, Camp Pendleton. One other thing I want to discuss is Slide the City. Where are we in that, City Manager?
Staff has been continuing to talk to the potential applicant about the project and how we would do a water conservation fair and how the project would lay out. No permits have been issued to this point. We're in the process of discussing the permit application with them.
With the severity of the drought currently, I don't think there's any way that I could be on board with issuing a special activities permit for something like this. I understand that the water gets recycled, but that's, to me, this is a giant waste of water, and I don't think it's a good idea now. If it rains next year, oh, I'm okay with it, but this year, I can't be behind that. So if we're going to issue this special activities permit, I'd like to hear about it here at the City Council before that's done. Is that okay with
We can bring
everybody?
that application back for the council review before we issue it.
Is that all right with everybody? One other thing, a touchy subject in town we need to discuss maybe or agendize or speak about is the beach showers. You know, the state turned off the showers down at the state beach, and I think it's time for us to get on board with that. I attend a lot of water meetings, and the seriousness of this drought is not being overstated in any way, shape, or form. It's just it's getting worse. And I think, you know, the citizens and the city have done a great job. We've met our numbers. We've met our 25% goal here the last couple of months. We're doing great stuff. I went to a Santa Margarita Water District presentation that talked about how to get to that 25% number. They had a great graph, and I happen to have it here. Maybe we can we zoom in on this? Let me see here if I can get this out. Yeah, can we zoom in on this for 1 second? This little corner right here talks about, there we go. Whoops, the other way. Okay, right over there. This little graphic talks about residential water use. And if you keep your use, you use about half of your water inside, half of your water outside, rough numbers, of course. But if you keep your water use inside at about what you're doing now, and cut your water use by half outside, you've made the 25%. So think about that, and think about when the last time you actually looked at your irrigation timer. Maybe it's time to go out there and do that. I've looked at mine. I'm back to 2 days a week like we're required to. Anyway, maybe it's time that we get on board and turn off those beach showers for the duration of the drought. How do we do that, City Manager?
I think that's a policy decision by the council.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't we have to agendize?
You'd have to agendize it or add it as a late-breaking item that can't wait till your next meeting.
I don't want to agendize it. I think we've met our targets. I think we've been a model community. I feel like there's a point where it's a little too much, and I think this is too much for me. It's too much. It's a minuscule savings compared with how much we've all done as a city. But it's one of those things that it's too much.
What about signs on them, reminding people to save water and maybe reach over and shut them off? You know, if you see one going, reach over and shut it off, or
They don't shut off.
They are on automatic shut off, and we have put low flow heads on them.
okay, we recently had one at the pier that was just running. I thought if you walked up to it and hit it, it would shut off.
Well,
Well,
we
sometimes you
have
can unstick
16 showers, and they're getting a fair amount of use, so, you know, they do break down, but staff is out there repairing them.
Right. I can say that they do that. I have called on them, I think a year ago, I called on one at T Street, and they were right there.
Here's the deal, Bob.
Let me share one story, though, from about 3 weeks ago. Walking down the trail, going to dinner, and walk by the shower, and there's two kids playing in the shower, and they're turning all the heads on as much as they possibly can. I said, hey, kids, how about not doing that? We're in a drought, we're wasting water, that's a big deal. But sir, we're trying to build a dam here.
They did not call you sir. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I have gray hair. Anyway, it's it's something. I think it's a good message to send. I think it's a good way to get on board with it, and I don't think it's too much. I think any little bit we can do as a city to help that is a good thing.
So I'm with Tim on this one, but I like to be able to bend a little bit. And if you want to bend on this, I could be open to the idea of having one shower head open per shower stall, and so we cap the rest.
Don't we have to
Yep.
agendize this?
No, he just said we can have an emergency one to discuss it right now.
Oh, you'd have to find that the need arose since your agenda was posted, and I can't wait till next time. You'd have to add it as a late breaking urgency item tonight.
Is that what you want to do right now?
I think if we were to shut off the golf course sprinklers 30 seconds earlier, we could save enough water to provide showers for 15 years.
I tried that one, it's reclaimed.
I mean, I'm actually, yeah, I mean, I'm being facetious, but there's so many other ways we could possibly save water around the city that I would rather employ than that. Because unlike the state, you know, most of the people, I would bet most people using our showers are residents. So either they're using it here or they're using it at their home.
Well, guess what, Tim? They're using it in both places. Because when you go to the beach, you take a shower there, clean off, then you go home, you take another shower.
No, I don't want to interject here, but I think I go to the beach more often than anybody sitting up on this dais. And I'll let you know, I bring a gallon down to the beach because the state turned off my thing and they have the bob brushes down there. And so I bring a gallon and I shower off at the beach. And then I go home and I don't shower off. If you'd like to lick my skin, you can fill with salt. I was there this afternoon. So I'm not showering twice. Yeah. Yeah. And
Mayor,
that's a little much.
I think if you want to talk about this more, you should just put it on your next agenda.
Because I'm water wise, Bob. You want to make an emergency agenda of this? Yeah,
well, I
said.
don't know. When did the state take its action? Because it was before last Thursday.
Couple of months ago.
Oh, then yeah, that's what I thought.
All right, well,
I
let's
don't-
agendize it for
you have to put it
discussion
on for
then.
next time if
I
you're
don't know
going
if
to
you're
do
going
it.
to get support to agenda.
No? Well, I think it's a wonderful message. Well, and I'm going to all those water meetings and telling on y'all. Or you guys.
Except for me. I just told you my whole
Except
plan.
for the mayor. Yeah, there you go.
Come on, man.
We were just told we have a high functioning council. And now we're going to get, now we got a narc on the council. Yeah, exactly. We're going to get our reward taken away.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. I have two items. The first one is a real quick one, and it was during our budget process. I brought up possible ambulance solutions to staff, and I'm just hoping that staff has their report ready to be discussed.
We're looking at the next meeting here in August to bring that back to you for consideration.
Okay, perfect. And then the next item is a little bit more difficult. You know, I've been noticing that there's an opportunity for us to make public transit in the city of San Clemente a little easier. And one of the things that I've noticed is that we are the only city in Orange County that has 2 separate train stops. And so the city manager's done some research, and there's an opportunity for us to look at the possibility of making both train stops at one location, which would be the North Beach. And being that we have a large commercial hub being completed right now, right adjacent to the North Beach area, I think it's a great opportunity. I think if you guys are comfortable that we can direct staff to take a look at that and start the ball rolling.
I actually think that's a good idea. I've been thinking about that for a while,
Yeah.
so we
Awesome.
should look into that.
Okay.
Well, you understand the pushback that's going to happen because that train drops off an awful lot of folks at the pier every weekend.
Yeah, the folks that get dropped off.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, and the other issues you're going to be dealing with Metrolink versus Amtrak, because that's, wow.
Every other city in Orange County has one train station, and both those interface perfectly. The reason that this came to light for me was twice this year I've tried to use the train station at the pier, and both times when I went online, it said that I was able to use the train station and I could purchase a ticket at the pier.
You can.
Hold on. When I got to the pier and tried to pay at the kiosk said, not only can you not pay here, but the reason you can't pay here is because that train doesn't stop here.
Right, that's
Then,
the- that's
hold
the
on,
issue, the
I'm not done
Metrolink
yet.
versus Amtrak.
Then I looked up at the ticker tape, and the ticker tape says the train that I'm waiting for will be here on time. So then I pick up the phone and I call the help desk, and the help desk tells me, no, the train doesn't stop there, it stops at North Beach. And I give her the exact train number, I tell her that the kiosk is saying this, the website says this, and she says, no, that's wrong. That's happened to me twice this year. It would be much easier if we had both stops in one location, and we're the only city in Orange County that doesn't have that already, so. Ease of transportation.
They can all Uber down to the Pier Bowl.
Exactly. And if
Just
we ever get a
kidding.
trolley set up, we'll have one trolley stop.
Plus, it would give people an opportunity to go to North Beach.
Yep, exactly.
So why should we pass up North Beach?
So it sounds like I have
the
support
North-
for that.
I'm just curious what the Pier Bowl merchants are gonna think about that.
Well, unfortunately for the Peerable merchants, there's not many of them left anymore.
So, yeah, so it's under, it's underway. Staff's looking at it.
Perfect.
You one day.
Great. You got support there, James.
You had one more thing, right?
No, just the two items.
Oh, I'd also, since we're agendizing things, I see Gary Hedrick's in the audience. The city prepared a response to the questions about the decommissioning, and I'd love to have Katie Carpenter get some time on the next meeting and just kind of walk through for the community the city's answers and basically the issues that were raised at our meeting in July in terms of decommissioning, what's going on, and how the city should be thinking about the new emergency plan and this, that, and the other thing. So, is that?
We actually had a meeting today with Southern California Edison County employees and our neighboring cities to discuss the funding of the emergency program here.
Great, so you'll have, so could
that
that be included
That
also?
MOU is going to be coming to the council in September, so we'll be able to have that discussion then, after we have the city attorney's office review it.
So could we handle the questions as one meeting in mid-August and then the MOU in September?
Sure.
Great.
So what are we discussing? I just want to understand.
There was some questions that came, that staff posed to Edison, and Edison gave us some responses here last week.
And so we're asking Katie to respond to those?
No, it's sort of like what you want to do with the school issue. It's sharing with the public pretty much what's going on with decommissioning.
With residents of San Clemente?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm just curious about
Yeah, with
what
our residents,
With
yes.
our residents?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the answers, the questions we're answering are regarding the emergency plan?
There was a list of, I don't know,
There was
5 or 6 or 8
5 or 6 questions having to do with various operations of the plant.
So the emergency plan, and are we going to be talking about storage?
Remember if
Don't
that's on the
remember
list.
storage was on there.
I just want to be very focused because, you know, from this discussion we had this last week, although the emergency plan and this, it seemed like the paramount concern was storage, you know, long dry cast storage.
So that's probably one of the topics. All
Well,
I have to say is I drove all the way down to Oceanside to that last consumer engagement panel. That was an hour down, and then with Las Pulgas being down to one lane coming home, it was an hour and a half coming back. There weren't a lot of us from San Clemente down there because of the hike. So I think it would be a great public service to share out just what's going on with the decommissioning
Okay.
for our town.
Well, I will say one of the challenges I have with that is that by having a completely open palette, we're asking Katie to answer questions. Are you asking SCE to come and answer those questions, or is Katie
Yeah,
Carpenter?
look at the email she sent out and see if you're fine with it. When did we get that this week? Like, or was it last Friday?
It was last week.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's,
I sent out an email on Friday to the council with the list of responses from Edison.
And so part of the discussion we're going to be having is basically everything having to do with decommissioning? Is that what the conversation is going to be? I'm just curious, because if Katie's going to have to answer about the dry cast storage and the vendors and the choice and selection, are we asking her to go do all that research and present it that evening?
I think, and, you know, it doesn't have to be this tightly confined, but there was a really nice quality email shared with the council last Friday, and I think the public would be well-served to have it shared out as an informational update on decommissioning.
So it's an informational item or is it an agenda item?
Can't we
Tim,
put
you're
that
making
on
me
our
crazy.
website?
I'm trying to be specific because what ends up happening is we get about 30 or 40 people from all over Southern California that show up with all sorts of their concerns, bringing it to our city council. So I'm just trying to be very narrowly focused about what are we looking to do? Are we looking to address emergency plans for our residents and for our residents' concerns? Or are we looking to do an informational item, or is Katie going to answer questions? If somebody from the audience has a concern about the dry cask storage, is Katie going to answer that? Are we going to have representatives from SEE that are here to answer that? Or are we going to have the vendors going to answer that?
Why don't we just take the email that Lori's talking about and put it on the website?
That's what I think we should do. I don't want it to turn into a hearing over dry cask storage, because that's been done. Whether we agree with it or not, it's been done, and I don't think it's fair for
Okay,
us.
let me reframe it then, because I feel really passionate about the 65,000 people that live here. Let us call it an agenda item, decommissioning update. And it will just go boom, 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 boom. But the community deserves to know. For example, I like to think I'm well-informed. I had no idea that the emergency radius had shrunk to 2 miles. I didn't know that. The fact that we're only being served by 2 hospitals rather than 4 hospitals, I didn't know that.
How about this, Lori? I have an idea. Instead of agendizing it, let's make it a report item from the city manager, and you can do it at the end, and it'll be a report-only item.
By Katie, who is our emergency planning expert.
Okay, through Katie. But it's a report item under reports, item number 11.
I don't know
on the
why
agenda.
why.
I know exactly why,
we-
because exactly what Tim just said, 30 or 40 people from around the county and the state are going to show up to discuss what Tim's discussed at multiple meetings. And it's the same thing that we discuss every time it comes up.
I mean, if we want to be clearinghouse for all of everyone's concerns about the decommissioning process, then we should call it that. You know, an informational update, that's fine, but the challenge is everyone brings their grievance because
it's the public.
Well, sure, but are we handling all of LA, Orange County, and San Diego and their public, or are these residents' concerns that are driving this? I know Gary's very passionate about it. I know Jean is very passionate about it. Don is very passionate about it. But a lot of the time, these meetings end up being 80 to 90% of people who aren't even from our city. So, but more importantly is that I don't want to keep, the dry cask issue seems to be the paramount issue, and it's been contemplated at great depth and length. I don't know if I want to, if there's a lot of other questions about emergency planning that we may, you know, for example, the 2-mile radius, that's an excellent clarification for residents. But I feel like that will be completely lost in the fact that it's just going to be dry casks and my concerns and wet storage and, you know, all these different things. And so that's why I wanted to say, are we answering emergency planning? And if that's going to be the presentation, then that's great. I'd support that, because I think residents should know about those things, and it's widely available. But, you know, yeah, you're right. It's hard to make that drive. But I don't want it to take all these steps backwards, so we're talking about dry casks and ignoring things that maybe is more relevant regarding emergency planning. But if we do decommissioning update and it's just a huge catch-all, I think we all know what's going to happen. We've been doing this for almost 4 years. So I don't want to.
So am I hearing you an agenda item called emergency planning during
Update.
decommissioning?
Yeah, emergency plan update during decommissioning, I think
Okay,
is
everybody
perfectly
okay with
relevant.
that?
Well, I like the mayor's idea about the city manager talking about it under his items, because I also attended that meeting. I was at the meeting also, and you know, the important point to me was that about the hospitals. That was a very very important point that was made. Whether that's going to have any effect actually in actuality or not, I guess remains to be seen. But I think Chris's idea is a good one, that Katie and James bring that up at the end of the meeting and talk about what the differences are in the emergency plan now versus then. Because there was a great deal of that 3-hour meeting about dry cask storage, and that's the place for folks from all over Southern California to vent at the community engagement panel.
So just so, I'm looking at the two of you, just so I understand, because, the Katie James 5-minute, 10-minute, whatever it is, when would the public get to talk if they had questions?
It's just going to be a report on the meeting that happened
Right, and so
last week, so there wouldn't be an
if
opportunity.
a public member wanted to talk about it, would they have to do it under oral communications before the presentation?
No, after the meeting, they can send you an email about what their concerns are.
Let's see.
Well, I think if the council wants to participate in the discussion, then it needs to be called out as a separate item under the manager's report, which I think is what you directed or what you're going to direct. Once it's listed, and I suggest that if you do want to participate with questions and answers or clarification, that you do call it out as something that might lead to discussion, at least by the council. Once it's called out, then the public can speak to it at that point in time.
Then I'm not going to support that then. So I'm good with the email being updated on the website.
My goodness. Why aren't you supporting it? Because you don't want the public to talk to us?
Oh, okay. I'm not even going to answer that question.
They have
Maria.
come
That's
to us
silliness.
and talked to us about it in open
Well,
oral
they can come
communications.
anyway. I'm trying to get some important information out into the community. Just like the school issue, which we're going to not only host, but we're going to host as a special meeting. So-
Okay, don't we have emergency preparedness or something on our website? Is that currently on our website? The old emergency plan for San Onofre, is that currently posted?
I can't. I'm not sure.
I'm not
I would
sure either.
think so too, but I haven't looked
Let's check that,
specifically.
because if it is, then let's update it and put something in the newspaper that, hey, that's being updated and there's changes. Somehow we get that to the public.
But I submit this is more important to the community than the,
Well, if that's the case, then people would have made the hour drive south. So you're not, the argument's
well, they'll
It's
be
faulty.
here. They'll be here no matter what. And so.
okay, then they can
Okay.
talk during oral communications, just like any other day. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, with that, resolutions and ordinances, I move that we adopt ordinance number 1600 entitled an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Clemente, California, amending section 15.04.030 of the municipal code, exempting solar energy systems permits from the city's requirement of homeowners association approval as a precondition to receiving city permit approval. Do I need a second on that one? Are we good? Nope. Okay. Motion by Ham, second by Baker. All's in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item B, ordinance number 1601. I move that we adopt ordinance 1601 titled an ordinance of the City of San Clemente, California, adding section 15.04.080 to the municipal code to provide an expedited, streamlined permitting process for small residential rooftop solar systems. Motion by Ham, second by Baker. All's in favor? Aye. And with that, I move that we adjourn in honor of Al Elo, former police chief. Al Elo recently left us. Al, or Ace, as he was affectionately known, joined the San Clemente Police Department in 1961, starting out as a dog catcher and rising through the ranks until 1987 when he was appointed chief of police. Al retired in 1992. Before joining the San Clemente Police Department, Al was a corporal in the Marine Corps and was stationed at Camp Pendleton. Al was highly respected and much loved by all who knew him. On behalf of the City Council and the citizens of San Clemente, I extend our heartfelt condolences to Al's wife, Marilyn, his sons Al Jr., Larry, and David, and grandchildren. And with that, we'll move, we adjourn to the next regular council meeting, which will be held on August 18th, 2015, in the council chambers located at 100 Avenida Presidio, San Clemente, California. Closed session times will be considered at 5 p.m. The regular business meeting will commence at 6 p.m. And I had a previous second from Baker. That's motion by Ham, second by Baker. All those in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. Thanks for a quick meeting.